Well, hello everybody. I thought today would be really fun to start at Washington High. This is where I went to, 5th and 6th grade in the building off on the right, and then 7th and 8th grade on the building off to the left. And some of the best basketball games you ever saw happened in that little building there. This is the baseball field. I wasn't very good at that sort of thing, but I think it's very nice. They named it after Coach Alex later. He was a very funny guy. Really, really wonderful man. He'd always yell at us, "Come on, you bananas," no matter what you were doing. He tried to get the most out of you, and he was a very warm-hearted guy. So we're turning on to School Street here. This is so funny. This hill has 3 different names to it. It's School Street, and let's see, above that, it's called Barnes Road, and then Rossiter, and then Kirby. I don't know. Anyway. So I had said my friend Phil Signor lived over in Marbledale, but they went away for a while, and when they came back, they moved. The Signors moved into the house up here on the right that we're just coming up on. So I have warm memories of that house too. Very, very nice people. Going up this hill, there was McCaffrey's. This guy was a presenter for NBC off here on the right. House in there. So that was one of our celebrities for the town when I was a kid. And then when we get a little bit further up, there's going to be one of the most famous of the Rossiter houses. Rossiter was I can't remember his first name, but he was an architect who did a lot of houses around Washington. And the building off on the left that we're going to see a little bit of is called, very accurately, The Rocks, because it's built on a rock, and it's sort of an amazing spot. There was a fellow, Ernest Tidyman was a writer, and I can't remember, I think he did The French Connection and maybe the movie Shaft, but he had a house in Woodville first up by us, and then he bought that huge, beautiful thing right there. But this part of Washington, as we're coming up on the backside of the green, has a lot of really very, very interesting architectural houses. And I can't tell you which ones are Rossiters and which ones aren't. But we're coming up on, and the garden off to the left here in the rocks is just one of the most amazing things. If you go straight across here, you'll come onto the campus of the gunnery school. So Frederick Gunn started a school there in, I think it was 1850. And I just thought for a minute we would go down this hill and just see one or two of these spectacularly beautiful houses. This is one of those places I just can't even imagine taking care of a house like that. So I have warm memories of that house too. And then a little bit further down here, I'm just going to turn around. We would come out on 199, the Roxbury Road, if I went all the way down here, but it's a little dangerous pulling out on that, so I'm just going to turn around in this driveway, and I think we have a little bit of a view of another spectacular place, and that's a very nice person too, lives down in there. So we're going to go back up towards the green, and then we're going to turn onto Route 47 after we see a little bit of Washington Green. So there was, you had Washington Depot down at the bottom where the train came through, and then up at the top of the hill you had the Congregational and Episcopal Church. So that was the Washington Green. And it's pretty beautiful. So we're coming up on the rocks again. I turned around, like I said, and I think I'm going to try to just point in a little bit so you can see a little bit of the rocks. So this is from the front entrance of that building. wonderful that you can just sort of go around. This little bike is so much fun, and that's the rock wall for the gunnery. The gunnery's behind there. And another entrance to the gunnery. And now we're coming up on the Washington Green with really one of the most classically beautiful congregational churches in America. It's just extremely beautiful. My brother got married in there. We said goodbye to both my mother and father in that church. And this is called locally the Po, as in post office, but it also was a nice place to go get a sandwich or, that sort of thing. Isn't that church just amazing? I'm trying to make sure. I watched Yehudi Menuhin did a concert in there years and years ago, and I think he was doing the Bach cantatas and that sort of. I think I got those words right, but so we had a little view of the Washington Library and Historical Society there, and now we're out on Route 47, and we're going to go in a circle. I'm going to go down to Roxbury via the Painter Ridge Road, and we're going to come back on that road that motorcycle just went on. This is, and the Mayflower, the beautiful Mayflower Inn. There was Mr. Henry Van Sinderen, who Alexander Graham Bell thought up the telephone, and Van Sinderen was the guy that did Bell, the AT&T. So he built himself a house up there. I think that's how that worked. I might be older than him, I don't know. But at one point he just thought, well, the town needs a hotel and I don't need to be in this by myself. So he turned his beautiful house into a hotel. And that was the beginning of what became the Mayflower Inn. So we're on Judea Cemetery Road, and we're going to come up on the old cemetery around this corner. I'm always trying to get pictures of these fields because they're so darn beautiful. And we're coming up on Bell Hill where we came over before past the Talbot House, and but this time we're coming on the Judea Cemetery Road. So if you went straight on this road, we'd end up back at the Solly Farm, which we looked at before. But here's this beautiful hillside with the Washington Cemetery. I love coming on this road. I'll go all the way over to Marbledale, come over the top of that hill, and then come back up through here to go home. Because these roads are so, just perfect for it. What we're doing today, though, I just did this as an aside because I wanted to show you from when we were at the corner of Bell Hill before. We're going to be going down Plumb Hill, I guess it's called. But at any rate, when we came over Bell Hill, I pointed ahead and said that's the way to go out to the Calders. So we're going to do the top of Painter Ridge all the way over to where it turns into Gold Mine, and finally it turns into Tophet Road. So, like I say, straight ahead there is Solly Farm. And now we're going back, we're going towards Roxbury now. Turned on to Plumb Hill, and we're going to go down and cross over onto Painter Ridge. This is I would consider this part of Painter Ridge Road, but that's just because they point at each other so perfectly. I remember at the bottom of this hill, I sort of noticed there was, I don't know if it was a Maserati, but it was some spectacularly beautiful car. And then right away after it, a Porsche went by, and I thought, I'm not in Kansas anymore, you know what I mean? Coming back, we're going to see a Rolls Royce when we come off of one of the other roads. It's just the neighborhood, So here we are coming back down onto 47. I just did a quick turn off of this road because I wanted to show the Judea Cemetery Road. So here we are coming up on Painter Ridge Road. We're still in Washington, and up the way we'll be coming into Roxbury. So my parents, after the Talbots, my parents had some friends on this road, Betty and Alfred, is it Alfred? Albert Milton. And Betty Milton had a lot to do, like Joan Talbot, had a lot to do with sort of keeping the Washington Art Association going. But she had a very, very interesting house. Betty Milton was a woman from New Orleans, and when she moved to Washington, she thought, I'd like to have a New Orleans style house. So she had a 2-section house that reminded her of what she grew up in down in New Orleans. So the way the sun's hitting here, we're going to be coming up on that house, but there's so much sunlight that I didn't know quite how to do it with the camera here. So right on the right there is the Milton's house, and I stopped and thought, well, I can look over at that, but the sunlight's so bright. I thought, okay, I'll go up and just turn around a little bit to look at Betty Milton's house. So I'm playing in the middle of the road here in a way that, thank God it's a little back road, but here we are. And then again, there's still this problem with the sunlight. So that's a 2-section house, and I don't know how much of that you can see. It's a little small for me, so it's hard for me to tell how much is showing. But I thought, okay, I'll turn around here. And then there wasn't any side of the road, so I kind of had a little problem. I had to sort of stop and back up, and I thought, no, I'm not going to pull into that. So that's a little less, fancy motorcycle driving than I had hoped for. So if you're living in Washington and you want to go watch the fireworks, everybody comes to this hill, because when you look off, the fireworks happen down to the right in the valley below. And I'd be stopping and showing you that valley, but the sun was just the wrong spot. There's looking at that car. This is a beautiful valley off to the right here. And, I can't tell you exactly where right along here we go from Washington into Roxbury. But I'm guessing we've just gone into Roxbury here somewhere. Oh, Two Rod Highway went off to the left there, and that was the sand road that went back to the Chess household. So Virginia and Bill Chess were the other wonderful couple that we socialized with. So much so that we'd go to the Calders for Christmas Eve, and we'd go up to the Chesses and have Christmas Day with them. We'd have Christmas dinner at the Chesses' house. So that's how close they were. Isn't this wonderful? This is just one of those spots where, now, for a regular car, this is a nice bit of road to go along. But for a motorcycle, we like the sneaky little bits of road. And when we get a little bit further on here, this turns into one of the most exciting roads to ride a motorcycle on. It's right here, this is still Painter Ridge. And when we get past this fork corner, the road turns into Gold Mine. And Gold Mine goes down and spins around for a while, and at Arthur Miller's house, it turns into Tophet Road. It's funny to call it Arthur Miller's house. He didn't live there after, I don't know, maybe the 50s. He did something else, actually further down on Tophet Road. But when I knew him as a young person, he was on the Tophet Road. Anyway, here we have some really gorgeous riding. As far as motorcycle riding, you can't get any better than this, what we're coming up on now. This is just corner after corner and turn after turn. And the other character who we've talked about is my parents' friend Andy Schultz, who lived up here a little bit further up. It's changed enough that it's kind of hard to tell where Andy's place is. I think I have it right. I tonk at the particular moment when we're right at Andy's house. But again, with the camera small like this, it's kind of hard to tell where we are. Well, the road is starting to do all the fun stuff that I was talking about. Look at that road. So lots of interesting turns going up, back and forth. The light at this time of day is so beautiful when you're going south. There's going to be a section when we go off of Tophet Road where we're going to be going into the sun, and that's not going to be so as pretty as what this does. But look at that road. Whee! Off to the left, and whee! Off to the right. Look at that. So yeah, you have to downshift to sort of pull yourself around this stuff. Nice little pond off there on the left. Well, there's what I knew of as the Miller's house when I was a kid. And coming up here, it just gets better and better, this bit of road. The other thing to say about this bit of road, when I was 16, Sandy Calder's younger daughter, Mary, married a guy named Howard Rower. When I was a kid, we knew him as Howie. But he was nice enough to teach me how to drive. And the Calders had a really cool Citroen station wagon. And that car was on airbags, so you could put the airbags and make it taller. So when I first started driving, he got me driving in a field first, and then of all things, he took me on this road to learn to drive. So you can imagine, I mean, as an early driver, to have this road as the thing you're learning on. But so I have very warm memories of this road from my 15th year. Well, you know, back then you practiced driving a little bit before you got your license. So that's what this is about. So after the Miller's house, this road is called the Tophet Road. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's all the same road. It has 3 different names, and you're not really turning off, but it's just the way it is. So we're at the horse farm, so it means we're almost out at the wonderful Roxbury Airport. So yeah, anybody who lives in Roxbury will be laughing now. There's a field out here where there's one airplane. There's Roxbury Airport. So you can see the sign saying Woodbury off to the left there. And another of my friends lives right down there. And there's one plane in that little Quonset hut there. So here we are further on 317. And this is the road that goes from Woodbury into Roxbury. When we came off of the Painter Hill Road, we came down on this a little bit further up. And I apologize, we're going into the sun, so a lot of this is going to be a little, bright. I've always enjoyed this piece of road. It's one of those things that just has really pretty sweeps that go to the left and right. And it's not quite as technically difficult as, the curvy little stuff that you have on a place like Gold Mine. And it goes up and down in such a nice way. This is, so we came in a little bit further down on this road. The road we did when we went on the Painter Hill Road is going to come down at the bottom of the hill in Roxbury. And I can't tell how soon that is from this, but it's coming up. Oh, that's such a nice corner there. Some very nice people live down in there too that I haven't seen in years and years and years. But nice valley here. And as I say, well, we'll go up again and then there'll be the hill that goes into town. It is just magic to get to drive on roads like this. I mean, look at that. It just couldn't be any prettier. I've always enjoyed taking the road going from Woodbury all the way into Roxbury. And if I'm bringing a motorcyclist I don't know around, this is one of my favorite roads to hit because it has a lot of sweeps, and at the same time it's, the views are just incredibly beautiful. So just at the bottom of the hill coming up, we're going to be coming where the Painter Hill Road comes in at Howie and Kathy Brunson's place. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? But so this is the top of the hill just before you come into the town. In the center of the town, there's going to be Route 67 coming in from Southbury. And this 317 will sort of automatically turn into 67 at that point. Look at this. Isn't it just the prettiest hill? So, yep, that's the vegetable farm right there. And here we are coming into the center. So we've done a little bit of this road when we were on Painter Hill Road coming down in, and then we have already gone on this piece of road. If we went straight across here, when we get to the center of the village, there's a hill that goes up, and that's where they do the fiddle contest now. The picking and fiddling happens up on the top of that hill. There's a nice little park that they've used. So here we are going off on 67. If we stayed on this road, we'd go over to Bridgewater and then finally go down to New Milford. But what we're going to do is up past the general store here and the gas station, there's a great road going off called 199. So we're going to be going off on 199. So, yep, there's the field they did the picking and fiddling contest in. And down here, we're just about to turn on to 199. 199 has been one of my favorite pieces of road for most of my life. It's one of those roads that, you sort of jokingly say is, it like the back of your hand. It was the main road that you would take from Washington to Roxbury. Hence the name, the Roxbury Road. Now, I wonder if you lived in Roxbury, whether they called it the Washington Road. Sorry, just trying to be clever. So one of the interesting people who lived on this road was Tom Whitney. Thomas P. Whitney was very, very good at Russian, and he translated the Solzhenitsyn books. So he's one of those people that had some very interesting things going on in his house. One, he had a nationally known library, Russian library, up behind his house. He also had a very nice swimming pool in which he kept otters. He had otters. So that was that was sort of fun. He also had a very beautiful Calder stibule on the hillside above his house. So whenever anybody took this road, they would look over and see, a spectacular bit of Calder just sitting there on the side of the road. Here we go. Around the curve, up the hill. Now you'll notice there's a car ahead of me, and I'm going to be playing that trick again where I stop the motorcycle and I'll cut out a little bit of the film just to give me some space between that car and the road so that I can have some open road for you guys. So if you notice me slowing down, I don't know when that happens, but when it does, we'll know what's going on. We're still in Roxbury. So isn't that nice the way the road goes down here? With a crossroad, and then it's going to go up, and that's a pretty bit of road. That road will take you back up to Painter Ridge Road. So we're just going to move along here until we have the moment where I slow down the bike so that I can get rid of that car. It's kind of a funny thing to be able to do this. I think we're coming up on it now. See how the bike's going a little slower and a little slower. So there's nobody behind me. So I can just sort of stop the bike and then cut out a bit of film to make some space between me and the person. So magically, it is half a minute later, and we can keep going with the ride. I think this is a really cool little trick. There is the Washington sign. So we must be coming up pretty soon on the Whitney house. So there's a curve off this way. And when the road just sort of stops, it's amazing how big a curve there is when you get to Whitney's place. Ooh, that's pretty. Finally. So this is Whitney's off on the, look at that curve. Again, it's so much more than it looks like it is when you're doing this. So down the bottom of the hill here for a little bit, James Taylor rented a place. So that made a lot of excitement for the neighborhood. I don't know how many decades ago that was, but it was quite a while ago. I think I was teaching at South Kent School, so that means it would be like 1991. So it's not like James Taylor is, still a resident. He's happily ensconced up in Massachusetts, in the beautiful hills in Massachusetts. That sounds like a song. You could write a song. Sorry. All right, so let's see. We're going to be coming. We're going to be coming back out onto 109. That is the most amazing place off on the left there. So it's a horse farm, and I think there's a goat farm somewhere on the right as well. Maybe goat farms aren't considered as spectacular as as horse farms, but good cheese. Yep. So we're starting to look like land above I was going to say land above the steep rock, but we're further along. We're almost right into back at the gunnery school. There's going to be a little road going off up the hill here, and that's the one that we were on before with all those beautiful houses. And as you can see, it would be really dangerous to pull out there. The Mayflower Inn is off to our right. Gunnery sports fields are straight ahead of us. And here we are back on Route 47. So, yeah, it's too bad I can't turn and show you more of, Rolls Royce. We must be back at Washington Green. I'm sorry. All right. So, gunnery school on both sides here. Our beautiful congregational church up above right there. And we're going to turn to the right past the Washington Historical Society and the Gun Memorial Library. That is the most amazing library in there. We are now back on Wickham Road, and I said, we'll go up towards, Washington Green sometime that way. So I sort of have talked a little bit about Susan Prince and other things. When she was first in Washington, they lived in that little house right there that they rented it from the Hearns, and the Hearns had a greenhouse right in there as well. And up ahead here, we're going to be coming up on the end of Sabaday Lane that we had pulled out on. So right there, that's Sabaday Lane. And happily, there was a very big Styx that almost hit me in the head last time we came this way. And it's been, cut back somehow. There's a fellow on the side of the road here, too, just about where that stick was. Right there. Boom. So, Wickham Rise School off on the right. Bell Hill is going off to the right, which we're not taking this time. So we're going to stay on the Wickham Road. There goes the Bell Hill off to the right. And then around this next batch of curves, we're going to have Dr. Hart's house off on the left. And if you went straight there, that would take you up to the Marsh farm again. But we're going off, if you went to the right, we're going to the left, this is old Litchfield Road, which there were two brothers of the Chess family, and I was talking before about having Christmas with Bill Chess and Virginia Chess, and his brother lived up on this road. Okay, wait a minute. Let's see what we're getting. Isn't that just the prettiest thing? Oh yeah, I guess I'm going to be stopping this video right when we come up on 109 because we've already, done 109. So I guess we're getting to very close to the end of this video. I think in the woods through there, that's where the Chesses were. So that's lots of warm memories for that house too. Okay, everybody. So we're coming down on the intersection. At the stop sign is where I stopped the camera. So I'm going to say my goodbyes, and thank you so much for coming along for the ride. Everybody stay well. All the best. Bye.